the word Noel. Anyone know what it means? I'm going to turn on my microphone so you can hear me. Is that any better? Any better? Great. Noel, what does it mean? What's that? It's French for Christmas. Joyous Noel, Merry Christmas. We sing about it. The first Noel, the angels would say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields where they lay. It's interesting to look up that definition. There's multiple layers to it, depending, and a few discrepancies in it, depending on which website you happen to land on. When it's capitalized, typically it means Christmas or the nativity, the birth of Christ. The root of that word has to do with birth, nativity. Noel, though, has a few other meanings. Merriam-Webster Dictionary says the word often refers to a Christmas song or a carol. Another online resource, if you've got questions, this is the resource to go to. It's called Got Questions. GotQuestions.org agrees with that. It says our modern English word comes from the Middle English Nawel, which Webster's 1828 dictionary, remember that one? Defined as a shout of joy or a Christmas song. Another use of the word is news, good news. That's probably the sense that we use it in the carol, the first Noel, the first good news was to shepherds in fields where they lay. I want to kind of combine all those meanings just for us this morning and talk about Noel as a song of joy declaring the good news of Jesus' birth. A song of joy. Declaration. That's old wrong. A shout of joy that Jesus is born. There's an invitation, I think it's in the bulletin this morning. If it isn't there, it will be in the next couple of weeks for any of you who would like to sing in our choir to come and join with the choir. It'd be great to have some of you respond to that. But this morning I want to extend another invitation to all of you, whether you have a singing voice or not. There is a song we can all sing. Noel, Noel. A song declaring the good news of Jesus' birth. And I want to invite you, not just here this morning, not just in your quiet times, but in your whole life, to be declaring the good news of Jesus, the good news of his love, the good news of his faithfulness. Sing it solo, if you want, wherever you go as an individual. Sing it together with God's people in worship. Sing it with others in this world. Join your voices and sing of God's faithfulness and his love expressed most fully in Jesus. Our world needs that song, right? Our world needs that song to hear of God's faithfulness, his truth, his love, his holiness. We live in a world that thrives on discord, on lies, and on selfishness, fallenness. Let's sing in a world that needs to discover God's rock-solid faithfulness and enduring love. Are you singing that song? Are you singing that song? Are you learning that song? I think we're all trying to learn that song, to sing it better and better, to sing it with clear voice. Our world needs to hear it. Psalm 89 begins, I will sing of your great love forever. With my mouth I will make your faithfulness known through all generations. I will declare that your love stands firm, that you established your faithfulness in heaven itself. Those verses reminded me of a song that I used to sing, and I suspect many of you used to sing it in your early days. Earlier days, we don't sing it all that much now. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. How many of you know that one? Okay, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing with my mouth. I will make known thy faithfulness, thy faithfulness. I want to encourage you this morning mouth, but with your life. How you live your life, how you're stewards of your life, what you say and what you do, that others would see and Jesus and hear his song of faithfulness so that they can sing it too, so that they can join with the choir. This morning I find myself being challenged as I think about that song and striving to sing that song and recognize that far too often the song I sing is a selfish one. And so I ask myself, encourage you to ask, is Christ's song, is his love and faithfulness the song that you're singing? Is my whole life pointing to God's love and faithfulness, to the one who perfectly reflects that love and faithfulness, Jesus, God's Son? He is God's love. Or am I singing a song that's all about me? My life, my wants, my needs, my hopes, my dreams. These aren't necessarily bad songs, but they're not the main song. The main song points to him. We give you all the glory. We just sang that in one of our worship songs. Again and again throughout this season, I don't know how many times I've heard it, but each time I hear it, I go, just missed the point. I hear it again and again on the news, on the radio, people saying, don't get caught up in all of the fuss about Christmas, all the material things. Remember the true meaning of Christmas. It's all about family. And you know what? Family is great. And there are lots of families here this morning. And some of you wish you could be with family. Some of you will be traveling. Family is good. It's a good gift. But it's not the main thing. I don't think, is it? No. Thank you. It is not the main thing. It's a great song that we need to sing. Celebrate family. It's a gift from God, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is what this song, Song 89, points us to. It points us to a God whose love and faithfulness are all-encompassing, not a small thing. God's love and faithfulness are all-encompassing. God is love. That's his character. That's who God is. But he is also loving in all of his actions, loving in all that he does. He is faithful to his loving promises. Love and faithfulness, again and again, are mentioned in this song. It's much longer than what we read together, but again and again, it's the main theme of this song. God's faithfulness and love. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. Base your life on it. He is faithful in a world of unfaithfulness. He is loving in a world of self-love. He is loving, perfectly loving. Listen to the psalmist as he paints a cosmic, large-scale picture, all-encompassing picture of God's love and faithfulness. Listen to verses 5 to 14. If you have Bibles, follow along with me. Verses 5 to 14. The heavens praise your wonders, Lord. Your faithfulness, too, in the assembly of the holy ones. Expression for all spiritual forces, all angelic helpers, in the assembly of the holy ones. Their faithfulness is declared. For who in the skies above can compare with the Lord? Who is like the Lord among the heavenly beings? In the council of the holy ones, another way of saying all heaven declares, God is greatly feared. He is more awesome than all who surround him. Who is like you, Lord God Almighty? Your love, you, Lord, are mighty, and your faithfulness surrounds you. You rule over the surging sea. When its waves mount up, you still them. Know anyone who could do that? God, when the waves mount up, you can still them, God. You crushed Rahab like one of the slain. With your strong arm, you scattered your enemies. The heavens are yours, and yours also the earth. You founded the world and all that is in it. You created the north and the south. Tabor and Hermon sing for joy at your name. Your arm is endowed with power. Your hand is strong, your right hand exalted. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Love and faithfulness, go before you. And then it says this, blessed are those who have learned to acclaim you, who walk in the light of your presence, Lord. The Revised Standard Version says, blessed are the people who know, this is the term I was trying to say before, who know the festal shout. That's the RSV translation. Blessed are the people who know the festal shout and who walk, O Lord, in the light of your countenance. Those who exalt in thy name all the day and extol thy righteousness. They rejoice in your name all day long. They celebrate your righteousness. The psalmist declares in this psalm God's all-encompassing power and justice and righteousness, his authority and power over all creation, over any army, over any opposition, and in all of this, he is perfectly loving and faithful to his promises. That's who God is, and that's the song we're called to sing. Our lives are to be a festal shout, a response to God's love and faithfulness. A festal shout is an expression used in liturgical worship. It was used in worship for the Jews. It was almost like a responsive greeting type thing, where the leader of worship would declare God's praises, and then God's people would offer a festal shout of amen. So, for example, when the leader would say, God is faithful, the people would say, amen. Yeah, and they would shout it. God is faithful. Amen. That's a shout. That ain't bad. God is perfectly loving. Amen. We have so much to celebrate. Our lives are to sing that song. We're to shout it here, for sure, but declare it loudly in this world that needs that song. Lots of songs. It needs that song. It's a Christian blog written by Jim Freeman, and he says about this festal shout. He says it doesn't refer to a liturgical moan. That festal shout doesn't refer to a liturgical moan. It is a festal shout, and it grows out of a heartfelt desire to stand in the presence of God. Nor is it a congregational giggle. It is a festal shout, and it is a responsible way not only of worshiping, but also of living as God's community. It is not a Sunday sob. It is a festal shout. And for Christians, it comes as a response to the joyous news of Jesus. The joyous news of Jesus. It's a Noel. It's a song celebrating joyfully the birth of a Savior. You might think, reading what we've read so far of this psalm, that it was written in happy times, that it was written in sunny days. It wasn't. The psalmist, in writing this, was very aware. If you have Bibles, again, turn to it, Psalm 89. We're not going to read the whole part of this psalm, but Psalm 89, as we move on in the psalm, we hear the declarations by faith of God's faithfulness, his faithful love, his faithful mercies, and then in verse 38, listen to what the psalmist says. But you have rejected us. You've spurned us. You've been angry with your anointed ones. You have renounced the covenant with your servant and have defiled his crown in the dust. You've broken through his walls and reduced his strongholds to ruins. All who pass by have plundered him. He's become the scorn of his neighbors. You've exalted the right hand of his foes, and you've made all his enemies rejoice. You've turned back the edge of his sword and have not supported him in battle. You put an end to his splendor and cast his throne to the ground. Can you guess when that was written? We've been talking about the last few weeks. Really a song coming out of exile. is upholding them, that God really is not present, that God doesn't care about my life, doesn't care about his people anymore, and their hearts are breaking. Have you ever been there? Maybe you're there right now. God, are you here? Do you care about my life? What about your promises? I don't see them. I don't see them. We pray to you, I don't see answers. Where are you, God? Have you forgotten us? Are you still here? I've been there. I suspect you've been there. May not be there this morning, you may be. But this song, I think this is one of the reasons it's so beautiful, is that it takes that into account and declares that in the middle of it all, there is what one author calls a defiant shout of praise. A defiant shout of praise. It defies our own perception. It defies what we think and even our emotions. It defies our doubts. It defies the darkness. It says, even in this situation that I'm in right now, though I can't see you, though my heart is broken, though my faith is almost non-existent, God, you are there. You are there. You are faithful. You are perfect love. You're perfect love in who you are, but you're also consistent and faithful to every one of your promises. I don't see it now. I don't see it now. But I believe that it's true and that I will see it one day. I will see it. The good news for the psalmist is not just, I shouldn't say just, it's not only a wide, all-encompassing truth that God is love. The good news for the psalmist is a historical truth in real life. That God has established his throne on earth for humanity through a loving, faithful king. A king whose throne would be firm and solid throughout all generations. Remember the situation he was in. He's declaring this in faith. That throne is secure and will be firm through all generations. That first king, and this psalm refers to the initial king, to King David, who we'll look at next week. One who would actually, this psalm in particular refers to David, but it looks forward from there to the future, to a future kingship, to one who would actually, and not just figuratively, but actually stretch out his hand over the water and have power over it. Remember that story? Remember that account? I've got to be careful when I say story, because some people think it's a made-up story. It's not a made-up story. It's an account of Jesus, who was God, who was perfect love and faithfulness, come to this earth and had all those characteristics of an all-encompassing God of love, and was able to stretch out his hand over the water and have power and authority, even over the wind and the waves. This is God who came into the earth, born in. It was up here last night, it's gone. It will be up here tomorrow night. It was born in a manger. The angel came to Mary and said, "Greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You found favor with God. You will conceive and you'll give birth to a son. You're to call him Jesus." God saves. You will call him Jesus. "And he will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants for how long? Forever. His kingdom will never end. God is faithful to his promises. The authority and power and favor given to David would not be forever. The psalmist knew that, so he was pointing them beyond that. The throne is established, and it will be an eternal throne. Authority, fullness of power, perfect love and faithfulness will be found in a new king, one who is coming for you, God's Son, Jesus. This is the good news. This is the song declaring the good news. Psalm 89 points us to the one who would sit on an eternal throne in an eternal kingdom, with all power and authority, with perfect love and faithfulness. And the world needs to know that he is king, that he's come for them. Not only with power and authority, but with power to save. He brings salvation, he brings grace and forgiveness. Will you welcome this song being sung? I'm singing a song to you this morning. Will you welcome this song? Welcome it. Receive it in faith, even if it's really dark. And I don't just say that to be dramatic. I say that because I know some of you are in a really dark, hard place. And this song of faith is for you. It's for all of us. God is faithful. He will be true to his promises. He is eternally faithful. And I will believe and trust in him in my situation today. I'll sing that song, though I don't feel like singing one little bit. I will sing that song for a world that needs to hear it, because God loves me. He gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have what? Everlasting life. It's good news. That's Noel. We're going to finish our service with a song that I have just come to love. By an artist named Lauren Daigle. Say? Daigle. She is going to give a festive shout as we close our service. Don't get all picky on me and tell me that the wise men didn't actually come that night. They came another night. That's probably true. But go with the flow. This video. And celebrate that the wise men came to bow and worship the King. So let's put that up to full screen if we can, and just enjoy this song by Lauren Daigle.